In today's video, we are going to talk about learning Italian through movies, especially through movie trailer, like this one of this super funny comedy movie, Women Drive Me Crazy, Pazze di me. I know here on YouTube there are a lot of videos that promise you that you will learn Italian in just 15 minutes by watching a certain movie, and let me tell you, that's only partly true. In fact, what you really need to do to actually improve a language through movies or films is actually to have somebody there to help you break down the most difficult phrases, for example. And that someone is exactly me. In this video, we will go over grammar tenses, lots of new words, phrases that are used in everyday conversations, and some hand gestures and the true meaning behind them. To do all this, of course, I will use the FluentU app, which will help me show you exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to follow along, you can by simply clicking on the link in the description box and get a 2 weeks free trial. Women Drive Me Crazy, Pazze di me, is about a 30-year-old guy, Andrea, who pretends to be an orphan so he can keep the girl he likes away from his crazy family. Alright, let's take a closer look at exactly what is happening in this first scene.
Ciao, sono qui per dirvi una cosa molto importante, ovvero che giovedì 24 gennaio esce il mio primo film da protagonista, finalmente.
The scene opens with Andrea talking straight to the camera and saying that on January 24th, his first movie as leading actor will be finally coming out. We all know ciao, hello, of course. Sono qui per dirvi, I'm here to tell you. If we hover over dirvi, we notice how we're giving a lot of helpful information about this verb. It is formed by the infinitive of the verb dire, to tell, plus the pronoun voi, you. In Italian, though, we say to tell to someone. So, dirvi actually stands for dire a voi, dirvi. Una cosa molto importante, a very important thing. Here we notice how in Italian we always put the noun first and the adjective after and not the opposite like we do in English. It can be weird at the beginning, but then you just get used to it. Ovvero che, namely that, giovedì 24 gennaio esce il mio primo film da protagonista. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I'm referring to the fact that giovedì, Thursday, but also gennaio, January, do not want the capital letter in Italian. If you want to practice this later, you can simply click on the word giovedì, for example, add it to a new flashcard set that you could call words that aren't capitalized, and you could also include the noun gennaio, which follows the same rule. Plus, the number always comes before the month, so whenever we say what day it is today, we have to say the number first and then the month. Moving on to the last part of the scene, we have another verb, esce, which is the present tense of the verb uscire, to come out, which in this case is a synonym of to be published. What is it coming out? Il mio primo film da protagonista, finalmente. Here we observe how the word film is masculine, and so we have to make the adjective, in this case primo, first, agree with film. That's why we write primo and not prima, which would be feminine. Finalmente, finally, is an adverb and it can be put pretty much anywhere in the construction of a sentence. Here we find it at the very end. What kind of movie is Andrea going to be in? Let's find out together.
Esce il mio primo film da protagonista, finalmente. Una commedia familiare. Amore.
Una commedia familiare. In this case, we have una, which is a singular feminine indefinitive article that goes with commedia, comedy. That is a feminine noun in Italian, so that's why we use the feminine article in front. And then we add the adjective familiare.
Una commedia familiare. Amore.
Senti, ti devi ricordare di portare le urine della nonna al laboratorio per le analisi.
Andrea is constantly interrupted by his mom, his sisters, his grandma. First, we see his mom calling him amore, love, and asking him to listen, senti, to you, which is the imperative form of the verb sentire. We use l'imperativo to mainly give commands and orders. In Italian, sentire is also used to express to feel and not just to hear. Ti devi ricordare, ti is a direct object pronoun. Devi is the present tense of the verb dovere, which means have to, must. So it's almost an order. Ricordare, remember, is simply an infinitive and it belongs to the first category, which includes the verbs ending in are. We then have a second and third category of verbs in Italian, and those end respectively in ere and ire. Knowing this will help you conjugate the verb correctly. Di portare le urine della nonna. Di, to, preposition. Portare, bring, but also take, so we don't have two different verbs like we do in English. For once, Italians decided to make it a little easier on people who are trying to learn it. Then we have le urine, where urine is a plural feminine noun, and we have the ending I to help us detect that, and also the article le is plural feminine, so we need to pay particular attention to that. In Italian, every word has a number and a genre to which corresponds a specific article, like in this case. If we click on le, for example, we can see how a list of different phrases in which that exact article is used will come up, and by clicking on the speaker symbol next to it, we can even hear and learn the right pronunciation of it. Della nonna is referring to her urine samples, of course, but we can notice how we don't just say di, which is the preposition of, but in this case, di gets more articulated and becomes della, which is the union of di plus la, singular feminine article, della. Di is followed by a feminine article la because nonna, grandma, is feminine in Italian. Al laboratorio per le analisi, al, to, as well, is an articulated preposition because it's formed by a plus il, singular masculine article. We use al in this situation because laboratorio, laboratory, is masculine. Per, for, le analisi, the analysis. In this case, even if analisi ends in e, it's still plural feminine word and not masculine. In fact, most plural masculine nouns have the final e in Italian. This is an exception to the rule.
Al laboratorio per le analisi.
Certo, va bene. E quindi un film romantico dove io sono appunto il protagonista.
Scusa.
Andrea replies back to his mom with a very simple certo, va bene. Of course, alright. His mom leaves the scene and he gets back to what he was previously saying before being interrupted. E quindi, and so, can be considered as a filler word right here. Then he goes back talking about his movie coming out and says un film romantico. A romantic movie or film. Romantico, romantic, agrees with the noun film or movie. That's why it's ending with O. 99% of Italian singular masculine adjectives end in O. Dove, where, adverbs. Io sono, present tense of the verb essere, to be, so I am. Io sono. Appunto, precisely. Il protagonista, the protagonist, which is a masculine word in Italian. That's why we put il before and not la, for example. Moving on, we see more and more action because one of Andrea's sisters appears, Federica. She starts talking by saying scusa, which in this case means excuse me.
Il protagonista.
Scusa, tu sai dove ho parcheggiato la tua macchina?
Then she continues by asking him if he knows where he parked his car. Tu sai literally means you know at the affirmative form, but also at the interrogative. In fact, in Italian, to ask a question, we simply use the same construction of the verb at the affirmative form and add a question mark at the end. Dove hai parcheggiato la macchina? Dove, once again where, hai parcheggiato, present perfect of the verb parcheggiare. So, first verb type ending in are. Here, the subject tu is missing, which means that is implied because in Italian, unlike English, we can do that. Tu hai parcheggiato, but we can simply say hai parcheggiato la tua macchina. La tua, your is referring to car, which is a singular feminine noun, so we use this singular feminine article, la, plus feminine possessive adjective, tua, la tua. Possessive adjectives always want their correspondent definite article in front unless there is a kinship name after, such as madre, padre, sorella, fratello.
Ho parcheggiato la tua macchina?
Ma che domanda è, Federica? Mi fai fare sta...
Andrea is now starting to be irritated and tells his sister, che domanda è, Federica? What kind of question is that, Federica? Che, pronoun what, domanda, question, which is feminine in Italian, è is third singular person present of the verb essere, to be. Federica is a typical girl's name in Italy. Also, did you notice the hand gesture he does? Let's rewatch it.
Che domanda è, Federica?
Well, this generally means che cosa? Che cosa stai dicendo? What? What are you saying? And it's probably one of the most used Italian gestures. He then tells her to let him do his thing. Mi fai fare sta cosa, per favore? Mi stands for a me, literally, which is to me. Fai, fare, is a causative construction which happens when verbs like fare, to do or make, are followed by another verb at the infinite form. The same grammar rule exists in English as well. Let me do this thing. Sta cosa per favore. Sta is really interesting to analyze since it's actually the shortened version of questa, this, feminine demonstrative adjective. It is not grammatically correct and it's very colloquial, mostly used by the younger generation. Cosa, thing, feminine noun ending in a, because most singular feminine words in Italian finish with a. And then we have per favore, please.
Domanda è, Federica, mi fai fare sta cosa, per favore? È una cosa mia, vai.
Federica then replies back and asks her brother what he's doing. Che stai facendo? Che, what? Stai facendo is the present progressive of the verb fare that we have seen before, to do. Una cosa mia, vai, replies Andrea. Cosa is a feminine noun, that's why we use una, plus mia, my, also feminine. Vai, imperative form of the verb andare, you go. Tu is implied, vai. His sister then goes away and he continues with his monologue.
Una cosa mia, vai. Insomma, io faccio questo personaggio, no? Un po' la Hugh Grant, perché c'è anche questa somiglianza.
He says that he plays this character, Hugh Grant style, because they also kind of look alike. Insomma, so, io faccio, I play, questo personaggio, this character or celebrity, both masculine, questo and personaggio, because we need to remember the noun-adjective agreement rule. Un po' alla Hugh Grant, a little Hugh Grant style perché c'è anche questa somiglianza. Perché in Italian is used both in questions and answers. C'è, there is, anche, also. Questa somiglianza, like we have already studied before, questa, this, feminine demonstrative adjective, and somiglianza, resemblance, feminine noun. Here we meet another one of Andrea's sisters, Veronica. And she asks him why he's doing this presentation alone.
Perché c'è anche questa somiglianza, insomma,
Senti,
che c'è.
Grant, perché stai facendo questa presentazione da solo?
Senti, imperative of the verb sentire, to listen. Hugh Grant, perché stai facendo questa presentazione da solo? Perché, why? Stai facendo is one verb altogether and it's the present progressive of fare. The subject to, you, is implied here and we have questa presentazione, this presentation, da solo, alone or by yourself. Notice how it is solo and not sola, for example. That's because Andrea is a male, so we need the masculine ending. Oh, she then continues her speech.
Stai facendo questa presentazione da solo? È un film corale, mi sembra una cosa maschilista e anche un po' misogina. La faccio io che la faccio
No,
meglio.
presentazione.
Here she complains that in this movie everyone should have the same importance and that Andrea is being sexist by not giving the women around him the chance to say anything. Veronica says, è un film corale. It is an anonymous film. Once again, always remember to put the noun before the adjective in Italian. Mi sembra una cosa maschilista, anche un po' misogina. Me, to me, it seems, sembra, present simple of the verb sembrare. Una cosa, a thing, maschilista, sexist. So we don't say una maschilista cosa, like we would if we follow the English sentence construction. Anche, even or also, un po', a little, misogina, misogynist, which agrees with the word cosa, feminine because it ends in a. La faccio io, la, it, refers to presentation, presentazione, so it's a singular feminine pronoun. If we had a masculine name, we would use lo. Faccio, do, io, I. So we would say I'll do it, future tense in English, because it's a decision taken in this exact moment and that's the rule. La faccio meglio. La, once again, the presentation. Faccio, I do, or in this case, I'll do. Meglio, better. Andrea takes then control of the whole situation and lets her know that he will do whatever he likes and sends her away.
Un po' misogina. La faccio io che la faccio
No, la
meglio.
presentazione la faccio come mi pare, Veronica, vai.
No. Then we can notice how the subordinate clause comes before la presentazione, the presentation, la, again, refer to presentation, so it's used to give it even more emphasis, and the main clause after. Faccio come mi pare. I do like I want, or as I see fit. So, come is literally like or as. Veronica vai. Veronica go away. Imperative of the verb andare, to go.
La faccio come mi pare, Veronica, vai. Allora, avete capito che in questa famiglia ci sono molte donne, non solo.
Allora, avete capito? Here is talking directly to us, the viewers. Allora, so, avete capito is the present perfect of the verb capire, and the implied subject is voi, you people watching. Che, that, in questa famiglia, in this family, ci sono, there are, which is the plural form of c'è, there is, molte donne, many, a lot of women. Donne is the plural of donna. A little trick here for you, since I've told you that most feminine Italian names finish with a. You also need to know that a becomes e in the plural form. Since we're halfway through the trailer, I think it would be nice to use the amazing feature that the FluentU platform offers and do a little quiz. Let's do it together. Let's go back and click on quiz. We will see how first we can take another look at some of the words or verbs that we have learned. And then once you're ready, you can start your quiz. I love how you can actually gain points every time you give a correct answer because it pushes you to do more and better. You can continue the quiz by yourself if you want to. Do it now or at the end of the video once we have learned many other fun Italian expressions. Let's get back to our trailer. Andrea is definitely going insane because of how many times he's been interrupted.
In questa famiglia ci sono molte donne, non sono tutte normali, perché queste non sono normali, capito?
Non sono tutte normali. Here we have the negative form of the verb to be, essere. Non sono is referring to donne, women, so they are not. Of course, there's no subject, loro, they, because it's implied. Tutte, all, normali, normal. Tutte and normali agree with donne. In fact, tutte is the plural feminine form of tutto and normali of normale. Here's how they change. Perché, why, queste, these, always talking about the women. That's the reason behind the ending e. Remember? Plural and feminine. And then he repeats again, non sono normali. They are not normal. Capito? Understood? Past participle of the verb capire. And he is addressing the viewer, us. In the next bit of dialogue, we meet the last one of Andrea's sisters, Beatrice. She comes on scene with a really loud voice and looking miserable, and she asks her brother,
Non sono tutte normali, perché queste non sono normali, capito? Quindi
Ma perché mi ha lasciato secondo te?
why does he think her fiance left her? Ma perché mi ha lasciato? Ma, but, perché, why, we've seen this already. Me, direct object pronoun, me, which is the abbreviation of a me. Ha lasciato is the present perfect of the verb lasciare, to leave, so has left, which can also be translated with the simple past, like in this case, did he leave me? It depends on the situation. Secondo te, according to you or in your opinion, Andrea's answer is not at all reassuring.
Lasciato secondo te?
perché sei pesante, Bea, vai!
Perché? Because sei pesante, vai. It's interesting to take a closer look at the expression sei pesante because we cannot literally translate this into English since it would be something like you are heavy. So this is one of those situations where you need to remember the expression by heart. Sei pesante means you are too much. Bea, nickname of Beatrice, vai, go. Imperative of andare, tu vai, you implied, go, which gives an order, a command. For the millionth time, Andrea goes back to what he was previously saying.
Bea, vai! È appunto una commedia familiare e...
Scusa!
E appunto, and so precisely, una commedia familiare è una singular feminine indefinite article which refers to commedia, feminine noun, comedy, and again. Here comes Grandma into the scene and makes things even more hilarious.
Scusa, hai visto il nonno per caso?
Poor guy, if I was in his shoes, I think I would go insane as well. Scusa, excuse me, says the grandma. By the way, if you want to find out about all the different ways we have to say I'm sorry, excuse me in Italian, you definitely have to check out this other video I made. Hai visto il nonno? Have you seen? Present perfect of the verb vedere. So, second category of verbs ending in ere. Il nonno, grandpa, preceded by the singular masculine definite article, il, the. Per caso, by chance.
Hai visto il nonno per caso?
Nonna, nonno è mancato 10 anni fa. Bogdana, Bogdana, puoi portare via la nonna che...
Nonna, grandma, feminine noun. Nonno è mancato, grandpa, masculine noun ending in o. È mancato, passed away, present perfect of the verb mancare. So, he passed away. 10 anni fa, 10 anni fa, years ago. Bogdana, puoi portare via la nonna? Bogdana is not really an Italian name, but it actually has Slavic origins. In fact, we'll hear out that grandma's caregiver has a strong North European accent when she talks Italian. Puoi portare via la nonna? Can you take grandma away? Puoi, can you? Present of the verb potere, tu puoi. Portare via in this case is a translation of take away, and then we have la nonna, feminine noun, grandma. Notice how we don't divide the verb portare via like we would in English and put the direct object of the sentence in the middle, so take grandma away, but we simply put it at the end of the phrase, portare via la nonna. Bogdana, which is the last of the women we will see in this trailer, doesn't have the best Italian, so what she says lacks some grammar.
Bogdana, puoi portare via la nonna che...
Senti, bello, io non so badante, io so dama di compagnia.
She says, senti bello. Listen, infinite form of the verb sentire, so you listen. Bello, adjective that literally means beautiful, good looking, but in this context is more like dude. Io non sono badante. Io non sono, negative form of the verb to be, present tense, badante, caregiver or in-house nurse. Here there's something missing though. I'm talking about the feminine article la. In fact, Bogdana isn't an Italian speaker, so she misses out on some grammar constructions like this one. In Italian, we always use the article in front of words related to objects or people, like in our case. That's why we should say sono una badante, for example, and use the indefinite feminine article una. Io sono dama di compagnia. Io sono, I am. Same thing here, the article is missing, so it would actually be una dama di compagnia. A, or one lady in waiting or female companion. Andrea replies and kindly asks her to take his grandma out of the scene.
Io non so badante, io so dama di compagnia.
Sì, allora accompagnala fuori per cortesia.
Sì, allora accompagnala fuori per cortesia. Sì, yes. Allora, then or so, accompagnala fuori. Accompany her outside. Imperative of the verb accompagnare. Plus the object pronoun la, which altogether comes out as accompagnala. Per cortesia is a synonym for per favore, so please. Bogdana then continues.
Allora accompagnala fuori per cortesia.
Tanto ho detto, io non so
Dai cazzo!
Tanto l'ho detto, io non sono tanto anyway. L'ho detto, present perfect of the verb dire, to say, plus lo, object, it. So I have said it. In Italian, though, the pronoun doesn't go after the verb but before. So here it is as if we had lo ho detto. What happens is that the pronoun lo drops the o and takes an apostrophe every time that it's followed by the verb avere, to have, like in this case. Io non sono, I am not. Negative form of the verb to be, present tense. Andrea becomes really angry and sends her away as well. Here he also says a bad word in Italian. Dai, come on. This word ca means this. So I guess we could say should, just to give you an idea, a less strong way to say it.
Dai cazzo! Cioè voi capite che cosa io ho dovuto sopportare.
He then continues. Voi capite che cosa ho dovuto sopportare? Voi capite, you understand, present tense of the verb capire, to understand. Che cosa, what, ho dovuto sopportare, io is implied, so ho dovuto, present perfect of dovere, have to. Sopportare, to put up with, to tolerate, infinitive. Before we get into the last bit of the trailer, can you spot the hand gesture he's making right here?
Quindi giovedì 24 gennaio esce Pazze di...
Well, this particular hand gesture means that what we're saying is really important, and so you want people to pay even more attention by doing this.
Dite che cosa io ho dovuto sopportare, quindi giovedì 24 gennaio esce Pazze di me. Per favore andate a vederlo, se no è stato tutto inutile.
Quindi giovedì 24 gennaio esce Pazze di me. Quindi, so, giovedì, Thursday, noun, which if you remember what we said at the beginning of the video, doesn't want the capital letter. 24 gennaio, January 24th. You can notice how in Italian we first write the number, 24 in this case, and then the month, gennaio, always in lowercase. Esce Pazze di me. Esce comes out, present tense of the verb uscire. Pazze, crazy, plural feminine adjective because it's referring to donne, women. Di me, about me. Per favore andate a vederlo. Per favore, please. Andate, imperative of the verb andare, go, a, to, vederlo, watch it, infinitive verb plus the pronoun. In Italian, we say go to do something. So, andare a vederlo. Lo is referring to movie, as if we were saying go to watch it. Lo is the pronoun that replaces the word movie or film. Se no è stato tutto inutile. Se no, it is true that se by itself means if and no, but if we put them one after the other, we will get a different meaning, which is otherwise. È stato tutto inutile. È stato, present perfect of the verb essere. It was or it has been. The subject is implied. Tutto, all, inutile, singular masculine adjective, pointless. It was all pointless. Or we could rephrase it a little and say, all this was pointless. You want to make sure you don't forget any of the information that I've shared with you today, then make sure to download the free FluentU PDF that you will find right here in the description box. But don't forget to go watch Italian words that everybody mispronounces.